let's turn to the March 27th letter, which you received and read March 28th, the Mueller letter. Correct?
Yes.
When did you have the conversation with Bob Mueller about that letter that you've referenced?
I think it was on the 28th.
Same day that you read it? When did you first learn of the New York Times and Washington Post stories that would make the existence of this letter public, the ones that came out last night?
I think it could have been yesterday, but I'm not sure.
When they contacted you to ask for any comment?
They didn't contact me.
Contacted DOJ to ask for any comment?
I can't actually remember how it came up, but someone mentioned it.
So you, at some point, you knew that the Mueller letter was going to become public, and that was probably yesterday?
I think so.
Okay. When did you decide to make that letter available to us in Congress?
This morning.
Would you concede that you had an opportunity to make this letter public on April 4th when Representative Christ asked you a very related question?
I don't know what you mean by related question. It seems to me to be a very different question.
I can't even follow that down the road. I mean, boy, that's some masterful hair splitting. The letter references enclosed documents and enclosed materials, right? Are those the same things as what you called the executive summaries that Mueller provided you?
With this letter?
Yes.
Yes.
It's all the same document.
I'm sorry.
When you talk about the executive summaries that Mueller provided you, they are the documents that were the enclosed documents with that letter, which we have not been provided.
I think they were.
We
have been provided them. They're in the report. They're the summaries in the report.
It's the language of the report in the report? There's nothing else that he provided you then?
I think that's what he provided.
Okay. If there is anything else, will you provide it to us? If it's different in any form, it's odd to be given a letter without the attachments to it when the attachments are referenced in the letter.
I think they were the redacted versions of the executive summaries that are embedded in the report.
Can we get that just to be sure?
Sure.
Great, thank you. You agree that none of that material was either Grand Jury 6E or presented a risk to intelligence sources and methods, or would interfere or compromise ongoing investigation, or were affected by executive privilege?
There were redactions made in the executive summaries. But as I said, I wasn't interested in putting out summaries, period.
Well, you know,
frankly,
this is another hair-splitting exercise because Bob Mueller, who I think we all agree is fairly credible, actually described your letter as a summary. So you can say it wasn't a summary, but Mueller said it was a summary. And I don't think I
wasn't interested in summarizing the whole report. As I say, I was stating the bottom line conclusions of the report.
Your letter itself says that it's intended to describe, I quote your words,
describe the report. Describe the report, meaning volume 1 dealt with this.
When you describe the report in 4 pages and it's a 400-page report, I don't know why you're caviling about whether it's a summary
because
or
I
not.
state in the letter that I'm stating the principal conclusions. Let me also say that, you know, Bob Mueller is the equivalent of a U.S. attorney. He was exercising the powers of the Attorney General subject to the supervision of the Attorney General. He's part of the Department of Justice. His work concluded when he sent his report to the Attorney General. At that point, it was my baby, and I was making a decision as to whether or not to make it public, and I effectively overrode the regulations, used discretion to lean as far forward as I could to make that public. And it was my decision how and when to make it public, not Bob Mueller's.
With respect to the OLC opinion that informed Bob Mueller's decision, as he describes in the report, do you agree that that is merely an executive opinion and that under our Constitution, the decision as to what the law is made by the judicial branch of the United States government?
I'm sorry, could you...
With respect to the OLC opinion that informed Mueller's decision not to make a recommendation on obstruction, as he said in his report, Do you concede that that is an executive opinion and that under our constitutional system, what the law is gets decided by the judicial branch of government?
Yes.
Is there any way for the OLC's opinion to be tested by the judicial branch of government to see if it's correct or not?
None that comes to mind.
And it could be wrong, could it not?
I guess hypothetically it could be wrong.
And certainly there are
OLC usually gets
respected
it right.
legal minds that disagree with it, correct?
Excuse me?
There are many respected legal commentators and professors and lawyers who disagree with it, correct?
It's very hard to find lawyers that agree to on anything.